Welcome to datascience.show, the podcast where data science meets executive leadership. We talk with top AI and analytics thought leaders about turning data into real business impact. If you're a C-level leader or data expert shaping the future, you're in the right place.
Welcome to datascience.show, where data science meets leadership. I'm Mirko, and today we're going deep on something quietly disruptive: prompts as governed assets. Imagine a small prompt tweak, a single line change to a customer-facing assistant that subtly altered the tone of responses, triggered a privacy leak, and suddenly created a legal headache plus costly customer remediation. That vignette is real enough. It's the kind of operational surprise that converts technical debt into board-level risk. Over the next 20 minutes, I'll give you a decision-first playbook: how executives should treat prompts like code, contracts, and controlled artifacts so you get predictable business outcomes, not surprises. Start with this promise: if you adopt a minimal, time-boxed approach, you can materially reduce incidents and vendor risk in 30 to 90 days. Strategy before technology. And yes, from models to measurable value.
First, a quick executive frame. Treat prompts as governed artifacts, not ad hoc engineering knobs. Why? Because prompts now determine customer experience, legal exposure, operational cost, and model behavior. If your organization treats them as ephemeral, you're outsourcing control and accountability. So the thesis is simple: provenance, versioning, testing, telemetry, security, and contract controls. Those 6 pillars reduce surprise and create auditability. That's the difference between models and value.
What should you catalog first? Start with the high-impact prompts. Not every prompt needs governance day one. Focus on customer-facing agents and chat flows that influence decisions, pricing and offer generation prompts, escalation and compliance templates, and any seed prompts used for fine-tuning. For each, capture ownership, who is accountable, and criticality, legal, financial, or brand impact. Ask which prompts, if they change, could create a regulatory or financial hit. Those are your top 5. Keep the registry minimal at first: name, purpose, environment, owner, and criticality. And automate metadata capture where possible so it doesn't become stale. A practical rule: if a prompt touches money, privacy, or contract language, it's high priority. Assign a named owner with a quarterly review cadence. Time boxing here matters. Start small, show value, then scale. Now, provenance and versioning. You need a one-page registry for each governed prompt. Minimal fields: author, intent, what business decision it supports, version ID, environment, dev, staging, prod, a linked test suite, change notice history, and rollback procedure. Require rollback rights in vendor contracts when prompts are externalized. Why? Because without clear provenance, you can't answer a basic audit question: who changed what and why? Also, insist on change notices that are business readable. Executives don't need raw diffs. They need a short summary of behavioral intent and risk. Keep versioning semantics simple: immutable versions in production with a tagged current release and a documented rollback path. Testing and validation gates. This is where engineering practice meets executive requirements. Define business-readable test suites, examples of desired outputs, unacceptable outputs, latency and cost budgets, and acceptance criteria. Include regression controls so a prompt change can't silently alter downstream decision per decision, and latency, part of the acceptance criteria for customer-facing flows. A prompt that doubles inference cost is a business decision, not just an engineering optimization. You'll want telemetry for prompts, not just model metrics. Track cost per decision, response stability, how much the same prompt's outputs vary over time, hallucination incidents, and prompt change detection metrics. Set baseline windows and alert thresholds so you detect drift early. Example KPI for the board: percentage of high-impact prompts with no unexplained drift over a 30-day window. Another, mean cost per decision for top 10 prompts month over month. Telemetry turns subjective complaints into measurable signals. If your metrics show increasing hallucination incidents after a vendor update, you can act, and that's crucial for executive oversight. Let's talk security and injection risk. Simple threat modeling you can require. The attack surface is not just the model. It's the combination of inputs, prompt templates, and integration points that can exfiltrate context or prompt fragments. Require input sanitization at boundaries, containment patterns that avoid concatenating raw user data into prompts, and rate limits to limit blast radius. From a procurement perspective, demand vendor documentation describing mitigation controls, how they prevent prompt injection, and what their incident response looks like. Operationally, implement containment layers, a pre-processing filter for untrusted inputs, and a post-response classifier to catch policy violations. Those are lightweight but effective. And make sure legal understands how injection vectors translate to contractual risk so you can align liability.
Which brings us to contracts and procurement. Add prompt attestation clauses to vendor agreements for pilot scopes and require version escrow or rollback triggers for high-risk production prompts. Don't demand full escrow in every negotiation. Offer a two-track approach: attestation and audit access for pilots, stronger escrow or liability alignment for high-impact systems. Provide modular contract language to procurement and legal teams so they can move quickly. And explicit rollback triggers are essential. A measurable KPI breach or an incident should permit a forced rollback or hotfix obligation. Commercially, expect trade-offs. Vendors will price stronger guarantees. Surface those trade-offs to the board: insurance versus speed to market. That transparency lets you make an informed decision.
Operational rollout. A 30 to 90-day pilot you can run this quarter. Week 1 to 2, prioritize your top 5 high-impact prompts and register them. Week 3 to 6, run a validation sprint. Implement the one-page registry entries, build the minimal test suites, and instrument telemetry. Weeks 7 to 12, require vendor attestation for any external prompts and run a live rollback twill. At the end of the pilot, brief the board with 3 board-ready KPIs. Percentage of high-impact prompts governed, mean cost per decision for governed prompts, and drift incidents per month. The pilot's goal is proof of value: fewer incidents, faster root cause, and clearer vendor accountability. If you can show that in 90 days, you secure funding and organizational buy-in to scale.
Before we close, 3 quick executive actions to take today. 1. Mandate a minimal prompt registry for your top 5 prompts and assign an owner. 2. Require a business-readable test suite and vendor attestation for any prompt that touches money, privacy, or contracts. 3. Instrument prompt telemetry and brief the board monthly on 3 KPIs. These are light on process, heavy on accountability. Final reflection. Governance isn't about micromanaging engineers. It's about aligning incentives and removing surprise. Position this as risk-reducing and efficiency-enabling with a time-boxed pilot. Keep the registry minimal, automate what you can, and assign clear ownership. That's how you move from models to measurable value. If this episode was useful, subscribe to datascience.show. You'll get more executive playbooks like this one. If you lead procurement, risk, or product, run the 30-90-day pilot and brief your board with those 3 KPIs. And remember the closing note: that small prompt change that looked harmless, with minimal governance, it never becomes a board problem. That's the difference between models and value.
Thanks for listening to datascience.show. If you found value in this episode, subscribe, share it with your network, and join us next time as we explore how data science drives smarter decisions and better business outcomes.